I'm your host, Vinny Baby, to the Wrestleville podcast, part of the Fans First Sports Network, where you can find this episode and all our other episodes where you snag your downloads. We're at Wrestleville.com. And if you listen to us on iTunes and Spotify, please give us likes and reviews. All that good stuff goes a long, long way. And we also have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Well, my guest this episode is the Wind Dragon, Dustin Nguyen.
Vinny, it's a pleasure to be your guest for today, and I'm very excited to be a part of your show for the rest of the podcast today.
Hey man, thank you. I appreciate you coming on. I have seen you around. You are Texas. We're both from Texas. You're
Hmm.
you're from the Houston area. I'm a
Yes.
little further south in the Rio Grande Valley. But you've come up on my feeds. I've seen your matches. I've followed you a little bit, so I know a little bit about you. You've been wrestling for 3.5 years, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It it's any day that means the most to you, you never forget it. Mine was January 26th of 2023. That was my first day wrestling in front of people. Uh, Texas Contender Series 11 in the iconic Houston Premier Arena. It was like I believe it was quite cold. The promoter of New Texas, Kiefer Bartek, who's also one of my trainers, he gave me a challenge for my first time wrestling. It was like, hey, so yeah, you're in a battle royal, and you're winning that battle royal, and the very same night, you're gonna wrestle. At the time, he was the New Texas Pro Lone Star champion. My trainer, JJ Blake. Hey, you're gonna have a one-on-one match with JJ Blake for the title. I was like, what? I haven't even like debuted yet. I'm like two times. My first time was a two timer. Double duty is what we call it up as double duty. And I was like, whoa, can I do this? And sure enough, I did it. And it's an experience I'll never forget. And it's still to this day the greatest day of my life.
Wow, that's interesting, and there's probably different aspects of that day that you can think back and just remember. It's like, right,
I
or
still
was it
remember everything.
you do?
Everything
Yeah,
from the day we came into the building to the day I came home. Just sitting in is like, wow, I did that. I'm a professional wrestler. I finally made it here. That it felt magical, man. The whole day it just felt the world to me.
yeah. And if someone is not, you know, familiar with your work,
Mhm.
describe your style because it's unique, and describe your wardrobe. Yeah, I think it sets you apart.
Yes.
There's Look, wrestling is a type of mixed martial arts, right? I mean, you're gonna it kind of jujitsu a little bit, right? I mean, it falls into the, but you really do. Your style, I think your style sets you apart. And please talk about it.
You are right about one thing though. Wrestling at its core, like at its sport, it's a type of fighting style with jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu as all of that. But our platform of professional wrestling is a it's like America. It's a mixing pot of many cultures and many stories all in one conglomerate art form that we intend to enjoy. Now, how would I describe me, the Wind Dragon, Dustin Nguyen? It's literally my childhood in a dream, man. Like it's um I grew up loving martial arts and I grew up loving professional wrestling. And no matter how many times I try to go away from wrestling, it just keeps coming back, keeps coming right back. And I didn't get to grow up watching American wrestling, whether it's the 80s, 90s, WWF, WCW, ECW, and all that stuff, or territory days. We go want to go back, even the old indies, even the old territory indies like Paul Bosch's Houston Wrestling, or the Von Erich's World Class Championship Wrestling. I didn't get to grow up like watching that with my peers because my family are like they emigrated to the states in the 80s, and I was my class my family, like my cousins, like children of of the previous children. We were we're technically first generation Americans. I was like, whoa, this is new. But I have the privilege to experience something. My grandfather, we used to go to this like old VHS store in Chinatown because it had Vietnamese dubbed Hong Kong movies. But my grandfather knew growing up I love Power Rangers, so he bought me a VCR box. It's like he thought it was Power Rangers, but I turned on, I was like, what is this? This is so cool. They're flipping. They're having masks. It's really cool. It was, I believe, 1994. Jushin Thunder Liger versus Ultimate Dragon for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title in Tokyo Dome. It was the same one where I believe Ultimate Dragon, he came out and he had like 9, 10 girls coming out with each of his titles when he was the Super J Crown, and I believe Jushin Thunder Liger had the Destroyer mask at the time. But it's that was my experience with wrestling. And then I grew up watching Japanese wrestling through the same VHS tapes as my grandfather keep buying. But my wrestling style, encapsulates my childhood in one being, man. I try to incorporate my martial arts background into my character and my identity as a professional wrestler. It really comes natural because I've learned kung fu. I've trained in kung fu since I was 3, and still to this day I try to keep upholding my regimen on that thing because I carry that showmanship, the prettiness and the fluidity of kung fu into. I try to incorporate it into my style because right now modern wrestling, it's the most crisp at its best compared to the 80s and 90s, et cetera, where it had that gritty, real feel, like, and they were all like bumping really slow. And I'm like, but it did feel real because they didn't know what happened next. And right now, modern wrestling is so choreographed, but it's so pretty to the cameras. And the Wind Dragon, it's what I fantasize, what my character, both wrestling character and character as a person, would be if I was in a fantasy. And I'm very gracious that we have something beautiful that's professional wrestling. We can express our fantasies in a live setting, action, performance-based art form that we can get to show the wrestling audiences who take their time and money to go and watch a wrestling show. And it's quite different. It's a very, very special type of medium, man. Um, you can see it in person. You can see it right there, right in front of you, like Broadway. But you can, your heart and the mind connection, it's right there because the wrestlers, they don't ignore you. They should never ignore you. The people who watch the wrestling are the ones that make wrestling. That is what I can characterize myself as, the Wind Dragon.
And what also I also like about you is your presentation as far as like the wardrobe. I mean, and you're wearing something very similar to what I've seen you wrestle in, and that's not a kimono, right? But
No, no.
what is it? What,
Nah, kimonos are more Japanese. I think it's more women, I'd say. I could be wrong. I need to research on that more. Um, but no, I kind of have a mix between two because I am Vietnamese American. I grew up with my grandparents speaking Vietnamese all my life. And a fun fact, most of my entrance jackets, that is like the one piece of Vietnamese culture that I have in my wrestling compared to the rest of my gear. My gear is Chinese. It's the Chinese Chang Sam, or like you see these frog buttons or something. It's very unique to Chinese culture, man. Like this type of stuff. That is it's called a Chang Sam. I don't really know how to explain it, but this is traditional, something you would see a person in the 1800s wearing,
right,
and
right.
something like that. And my character, the Wind Dragon, it's I kind of have a little silly origin to the Wind Dragon. I feel like the boy that is Dustin Nguyen, at its essence, it's from heart, soul, it's still there. But the persona of the Wind Dragon, who is a skillful martial artist who fights through any challenges up ahead and constantly trains to become the best fighter they can be. They're kind of stuck in like up in the mountains that like no means of communication or something. Like you would like you can never find a Sky Temple is where I would have my character be. But like you could, it's a typical old like dilapidated temple or something. Like everything's all wood and stone, and like there's no electricity, there's no thing. It's all traditional, but he's going all training in martial arts in like the old fashioned way of some sort, something you would like hear in legends. Um, and you would always see me wearing this kind of thing. You would rarely ever see me wear Western clothes outside of wrestling, man. But it's it's something that I'm very proud of to be able to express in my culture, whether it's my background in martial arts or being Vietnamese American or Asian American in general. And I'm very grateful that wrestling allows me to express that.
Yeah, and to me, it's fresh, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everything's everything. It seems like everything's been done in wrestling, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when you came along and I saw your work, and it's just I just haven't, look, there's been Asian American wrestling people from, Japan come over here. I mean, it's not it's nothing new, but your look and your style just stands out. And then especially down here, here in Texas, I mean, how many people are doing what you're doing? And that's what I like, is because it's got to be hard to come up with a unique persona. It's got to be hard to, I mean, if you're seeing all these people do stuff and that's your example, I mean, you're going to it's easier to piggyback off what you see. But if you, right, you follow me, because
Yes.
I can look across the landscape and say, wow, that girl is got the same outfit as this girl, and you know what girl she's emulating, right? Because you see it.
Yes.
I can't say that about another wrestler right now in you. So there you go.
That means a lot. Um, we are taught at a very early stages in our careers that we want to be the most unique person in the show, like something that people can identify with, that one person when they think of something. When I think of kung fu in wrestling, when we think of kung fu, I want people to think of the Wooden Dragon. I want people to think of myself, because I can admit this, like Asians in wrestling, especially Asian Americans, not really received in American wrestling, and we correct me if I'm wrong saying this, but we are subjected to like very wacky characters or very out of the blue, very exaggerated characters. And the first person I can think of in that example is Jimmy Wang Yang. Jimmy Wang Yang, he didn't start off with being the cowboy. He started off being like a random ninja in a faction in WCW, I believe, I think. And then he came up was like, oh, he's a Southern Georgian cowboy who happens to be Asian at the same time. I was like, oh, okay. Or Kung Fu or Sho Funaki doing the Kung Fu Naki character before he started wrestling and all that stuff. And I'm like, my goal with the Wind Dragon is I want to be able to proudly have a character and be able to build an identity with this character to prove that people like me, people who are similar to me in other cultures, whether they're not Japanese, whether they are Vietnamese or uh, Cambodian or Laotian or any other Asian that is not known for Japanese, because Japanese wrestling is its own thing. It's its own identity. It's its own world. And the world, thankfully, can respect that to a degree. But me, my goal is to be able to build something really special with the Wind Dragon character. I want to be able to travel all over the world, travel the nation. And when they see the character, yes, it's important to have a unique character that stands you apart compared to the rest of the world. But I want that character to be also respected in regards of, hey, that guy's gonna be my next world champion. I can see him as my next world champion. Someone who you can see is like, hey, they're not just a character; they can go. And I'm very thankful that I learned kung fu all my life to be able to legitimize that. That is my. That's what I believe sets me apart from many people who are like me. But that's my goal with the Wind Dragon character. I want to be. I want to be. I want to be the best. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I just want to be the best wrestler that I can be.
You told me that you had the opportunity for 2 years in a row to go out to Las Vegas during
Yeah.
WrestleMania weekend.
Yes, I
Talk to
did.
me about that experience. I mean, tell me what that was like for you.
Oh man. So the first time WrestleMania was hosting in Las Vegas, within this time, um, it was exciting, man. Like I'd never been to a Mania week ever. Like not even in WrestleMania 25, when it came down to Houston, or WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. Um, but it's a different world, man. Like the entire wrestling world gathers in one city, and that doesn't happen like really often. Like you will see all walks of life. Everyone you saw on TV, everyone you saw across the world, they're all gathered in one city to do one thing, and it's to perform and entertain and give people who don't want to go to WrestleMania, but give them a WrestleMania moment in their own way. Because wrestling has really evolved to so many different platforms, so many different styles, and so many different products. It's a lot. Like it's a lot, and it can be quite overwhelming. It can be quite overwhelming. But that Mania week, oh man, I I had a really good time. It was just like seeing friends, meeting new people, getting to see shows, like getting to see matches. Like it wowed me, and having the privilege to wrestle. My first time, 2025, wrestled two times. The first night was in Pride. It was actually the same night. One show in Pride Style when it was called Swan Dive, and literally right afterwards, it was a New Texas show. New Texas Pride Style Pro Out of This World 2025, and then New Texas Pro Texas Hold'em, in the same building. And very fortunate to have wrestled during Mania week, and it was really nice. Then fast forward 1 year later, WrestleMania hosts again in Las Vegas. Like, all right, here we go again. Here we go again. And I came into Las Vegas this year in a different mentality. Like this time, I didn't. I still had fun. I still had fun. I got to see so many friends. Got to catch up. Got to meet new people. It was very fulfilling. And I got to wrestle three times on three different occasions. I was like, hey, this is nice. It was brutal. No. Four times. I wrestled four times. Like, oh, my body hurts. I love it, but my body really hurt. But it's a really rewarding feeling. And having to understand, like, hey, we did this last year. How we can make things different this year? And Mania Week, it still feels magical to me. Mania Week, depending on where the world goes, that to me is the Disneyland of wrestling. That to me is my kind of fun.
Yeah. And when WrestleMania comes around, I love watching the independent shows.
Yeah.
I tell this comes out on my show every time we talk about WrestleMania, but I would love to go to WrestleMania one time,
Mm-hmm.
not to go to WWE, but to do all the independent shows. I mean,
Yes.
dude,
Yes.
I'd be in hog heaven.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hey, and an opportunity like that for you, I mean, of course, you're meeting people you've never met before. You're seeing wrestlers maybe you've never got to see before, but there's people laying their eyes on Dustin Nguyen for the very first time. Like,
yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
I like this guy. Who is this guy? I want to know more about this guy, right?
Yes. 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 Um. Yeah. That pretty much sums down to this. What makes WrestleMania week special. Again, the world comes together to see all different kinds of life in wrestling, and just anything that sticks out to them, they'll remember forever. I made my Pandemonium Pro Wrestling debut the first the first day of my Mania week, and it was already a really hot show. Like all kinds of people in that roster, and all sorts of matches. Like the main event, I believe. No. One of the most highlighted matches I remember that night that everyone going, "Oh, this is nice." Is Johnny Robbie versus Natsupoi. That's like I think semi-main or something. I was like, oh shoot, this is something you will see in an indie show, not at a major Stardom show or not at a CMLL. No, this is at an indie show of all things, and that encapsulates how special indie wrestling can be because you'll find some crazy like amazing matches in in small settings. Because Swan Dive, if you look at some of the Mania Week shows, it's not a big venue. It's a nice venue, but it's not big. It's not grand. But again, the wrestling makes it grand. It's what we put out in the ring that makes it truly special. And I remember one particular match in general that made me go, "Oh my god!" Like everything they did, they thought they saw the second coming of a miracle because it was a match between Senka Akatsuki versus Chris Hero at a West Coast Pro show at that same Mania week, and we're like, literally, they didn't have to do anything. Just even a punch got the crowd like. It was like, again, that's what makes indie wrestling special, man. It's something that you don't really get to see in national TV wrestling. Like you hear the crowd, but you don't get to really see it because it's so big, it's so grand, and TV has to really show what's happening in the ring for everyone in the world to see. But in indie wrestling, you're there, you're in the moment, and
Yeah.
that's what perfectly encapsulates Mania Week in general. Every show I went to, that's what the same feeling I had.
Yeah. And when you're out here in these shows, you said you wrestled 4 times on this last
Yeah.
WrestleMania, but you're going to shows too, right? I mean,
Yes. Yes.
like the shows that you're uh not wrestling on, I mean, you're like maybe you and your buddies are saying, "Hey, so and so company is wrestling over here. We gotta go to that," right?
Yes. Yes.
So you're not only working, but you're soaking it up too, right?
Yep. At the end of the day, at our heart, we're all fans at the end of the day. And it was really cool going to different venues and seeing all these workers you grew up idolizing still being the best at their craft. Um, and also, it gives you a chance to explore the rest of the world outside of your home to see what wrestling is out there and what is something that you can learn from this show or this match that you can take with you so you can get something a little refreshing into your craft. Um, again, I was really fortunate. I got to see a West Coast Pro show, marvelous. Wrestled for New Texas again, and wrestled for Pride Style again. Debuting for Pandemonium. You know, watching GCW Bloodsport in 2024 was a really unique spectacle. Um, uh, Unfortunately, when you go to one show, you're missing the other show. I'm like, because they're all happening at the same time. I'm like, what do you do?
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of having a choice, especially in wrestling, man. Like there you cannot go wrong with either or. You can't go wrong with either or. And honestly, I came into WrestleMania week kind of like a work trip more than a vacation. But I still had fun because that's the really fulfilling thing about being a pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling being my career right now because I it doesn't feel like work. It feels like a true passion that I'm very happy to do because I love it. Because I love it.
Doesn't that make going to work just so much better, man? I mean,
Well, 100%. And I can confidently say that I am more than willing. I've already decided this. Like, honestly, throughout my life, I wasn't really too sure what I wanted to do with my life. Like, I was doing good in school, but I didn't really understand. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do outside of high school. I don't know what I wanted to major in. I don't know what to do outside of the school life. But wrestling was the one thing that I was like, oh, I'm absolutely sure. And I am more than ready to dedicate my entire life to wrestling.
and not only do you wrestle, but talk to me a little bit about New Texas Pro and what you do for them.
Ooh, oh man, this is pretty much the start of my wrestling life. New Texas Pro Wrestling. Uh, in the Houston scene, it started off it started off really hot. And speaking of hot, the old Houston Premier Arena in Southeast Houston, it's quite a building. It's quite a special building. Not the most ideal building when you go there in person, but it gave people old underground ECW vibes. Like it's just the spectacle of a venue that is, but it produced so much great wrestling, and most of it was, in my opinion, came through New Texas Pro Wrestling. We had Texas legends like Mysterious Q, Brian Keith, Roxanne Perez, Gina Medina coming through there, and so forth and so on. And all the quality of matches that went down in that building. That's what first attracted me to New Texas Pro. Then I met my trainer. It was, I believe it was like 2022, roughly so. And I met my trainer, JJ Blake, and he said, "Hey man, hey, I'm gonna give you this address, 7122 Avenue B. Come in at 4:30. I'll see you then." And I never looked back after that day because that was the first time I went to the Houston Premier Arena, and I looked inside. I was like, "Oh, so this is the building I've been seeing online. These are all the iconic walls. Everyone banging on the metal doors and walls, going boom, 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 boom when they see a banger match. This is the building." Um, and it's quite humbling because there wasn't really a school. Like it was barely a school starting there, and we just kept going to class. Me and my class, we kept going every day. We went every day from Monday to Thursday. We did not miss a single day of class, and we did. We even got to the point where we kept JJ in the building for like since like 2 a.m. because he would always tell us stories after class, and we were so ingrained in that story, in those stories that he'd be telling us in his journeys. Now with New Texas, I started up as a referee because I wanted to be active while learning, and I learned a lot, like being up close and personal with the matches and being comfortable being in front of a crowd. That really helped me in my journey. And then I also helped run production with engine videos and music and all that stuff, man. Because um, my upbringing with wrestling, nobody's bigger than business. Nobody, even the greatest of all times, they're never big too big for wrestling. And my trainer taught me that they don't care like what you've done or how much you've done. You are never good enough to pick up a board to build a ring, and that is true because we're all in this together. We're all this is wrestling shows to me are like a ship. You like everyone on deck. We are here to get the ship sailing, and I'm. It's a privilege, man, because I want to make sure I can do everything I can in ring and out of the ring to make sure that the show runs smoothly. And with Texas Contender Series under the New Texas Pro umbrella, I've grown a lot as a person, as a performer, and as a professional. And speaking of, I
Yeah,
guess I'll tell you.
let's talk about that.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I have here in my possession this is recently new, and this is something I fought really hard for because hey, remember the double shot I did my debut? I did it again. I did it again, but this time it was a two-match tournament. Um, TCS 64, which recently happened June 2nd. No, July 2nd. July 2nd in Houston Premier Arena. But this trophy right here, I believe this is like my second trophy I've ever won. If I go technical, but this right here, this is the Contenders Cup under the New Texas Pro umbrella with Texas Contender Series. This cup right here, I had to go through two grueling matches to win this. And to win this means I am the number one contender to the Texas Contender Series Championship, which is right now held by Isaac Morales. And it was painful. It was painful. I had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations to even advance the tournament and to finally, I had to pull everything out of me to win the grand finals. And whether I win something, I lose something. I can go more on that later, but that night was very humbling in many ways. But I did it. Uh, Out of no matter how painful it was, no matter how tired it was, I came out with this baby.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. Who were the wrestlers that you went up against in that tournament?
The opening contest, the opening round. No, not it wasn't an opening contest. The first round of the tournament was my good friend Jay Pierce. He's a Houston independent wrestler, and we go back, man. We like Jay Pierce joined the school like maybe like 11 months after, maybe a few months after I debuted, and he was in the business for quite a bit long, but he was kind of like in limbo or some sort, but he discovered himself. He used to be a masked lucha character named James Lightning, but then he took a chance on himself. Like, you know what? I'm gonna go unmasked. I'm gonna tap into hip hop culture because he loves hip hop culture. He loves hip hop music and all that stuff. And right now, Jay Pierce, he's really transformed himself. If you look back in his old history between James Lightning and Jay Pierce, completely different story. And he did beat me one. He did beat me one time. It was Super Contender Series 10. Um, and he was on his path to become number one contender for the Texas Contender Series Championship. But unfortunately, a lot of events came through, and he unfortunately lost his number one contendership in a 3v3 against 3v3 or 4v4, I forgot which, against Isaac Morales at our biggest show of the year in New Texas called Lone Star. And I was a part of that match too. And I had to witness him being slapped out, choked out by Isaac, and losing his number one contendership, which Isaac used that number one contendership to win the title. So there was a lot going into that first round, and he gave it. He really brought it. He wasn't his usual cheery South Side self. No, he came in there with a mission. But I did what I had to do to pull out the victory, just to advance. And I thought I was going to lose another friend, but thankfully, still in the middle of the ring, and he dabbed it up, and he looked at me deep in the eyes like, "You better win this. You better win this. If I'm to lose, you promise me to win this entire thing." And I said, "That's a promise." And then the grand finals. It was the main event of the Texas Contender Series 64 show. It was against a former Texas Contender Series champion and a Houston favorite, Lethal Chris Marcel. And boy, if I can, how do can I curse on this platform?
If you have to, yes.
And man, he whooped my ass. Like, he just absolutely whooped my ass. And like Lethal. If you look at Lethal Chris Marcel, he's a big man. He's a big guy, but he can move so nimble. And he brought it to me. He brought it to me like every strike, every slam, every pounce, every splash. I just felt his entire body weight just going through. At a point, I was trying to roll him up, and he bonsai dropped me on my chest, and I thought, whoo. I can literally feel the wind out of my breath, and I don't even know how I kicked out. That was you can't fake gravity. You can't fake gravity. Right. But again, I had to pull out every single fiber of my being to finally put down and win the tournament. And as I won the tournament, I wanted to give Lethal and his crew, Lethal Empire, respect. Lethal Empire, that's his group with AQA and right now Big Marcus, who's a third in command under Lethal. But after I thought that I gained the respect, celebrated with the Houston crowd. He proceeded to attack me after the match. I was hoisting up the trophy, celebrating up the top rope. Next thing you know, one power bomb later and one splash later, I was laid out in a lot of pain. And I was already in a lot of pain going through that night because I had to wrestle 2 times to win this baby. And right now, we have a upcoming Texas Contender Series episode coming up, I believe around July 16th. And I'm going to have a personal match with Lethal Chris Marcel. And I mean personal, I'm going to beat his ass like he stole money. And that's my focus right now. I am still number one contender, and my time with the title will come. But I got a lot of things to take care of right now.
So I want to ask you how. I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Hey, how can fans get their eyes on New Texas Pro Wrestling?
well, New Texas Pro Wrestling, we are streaming on both IWTV and on YouTube. And if you can't get IWTV, you can catch us streaming live on YouTube, whether it's a New Texas show or a Texas Contender series. Houston, Austin, YouTube or IWTV is the main way to go. And follow up on all their social media at New Texas Pro, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc., etc.
What do you think New Texas Pro offers the wrestling fan? I mean, there's so many wrestling products out there, right? Why do I want to watch New Texas Pro?
I believe that New Texas Pro produces the best quality professional wrestling Texas has to offer, and the driving force and the machine behind it, with everybody who works so hard, everyone who's so special in the Texas scene. And they also have a Patreon too. They also got a Patreon, and there is some exclusive content on there too that not everyone can generally access. And if you would like to show some support, then at Patreon, newtexaspro.com.
Now, if someone wants to find you on social media, how do they go about doing that?
Yes, my main social media handle is at WinDragonDN. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. But also on Facebook, you can look up my name, Dustin Nguyen, and you should be able to see my face. I'll pop you up on this feed for search. So yes, you can find the Wind Dragon, Dustin Nguyen. You can find all my stories, all my upcoming matches, all my posts at WinDragonDN, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok.
All right, man. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun.
I had a really good time. Thank you so much for having me, Vinny.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're listening to the Wrestleville podcast, where the wrestling fans live. All right. All right, man.
Woo! We made it.